Hello everybody, Windrake Hexer doing a live pick-by-pick commentary for shardsandwards.com. Pretty clear first pick here. Wakuna Crowfeather, a 2/4 for 4, single threshold that gives the next troop in your deck a +2/+2 in flight. That in and of itself is great. You do have the tendency to just go off if you're playing Coyotals. Cardinals, it's kind of hit or miss. Kind of get some evasive, kind of long game kind of strategies where you're gaining incidental value. I don't know. I haven't been a huge fan of Coyotal, uh, especially because when you play the Coyotal champion, it gets cards back, cycling in your deck, triggering prophecy type effects. You just get blown out by spiders. So for that reason, there's always one or two spider decks. But that's definitely a good first pick, and goes well in pretty much any strategy that can take advantage of Sapphire. No great follow-up picks in Sapphire. The rare is pretty much unplayable. Cards that are really good would be Predatory Prey. It's quite strong. Though a little slow, but typically in ramp or wild, you're just fine with that. I like Rotwood Enchanter as a 3/5 with Steadfast and Skyguard. It's quite a good combo, good rate for the resources spent. This card's a good filler card. Being able to see your opponent's hand does come in handy, for sure. But it's not quite second pickable. Again, in ramp as top end, this card's fine. Probably just going to have to pick something here. This card's okay. Probably might start thinking about Ruby Wild, though I can see myself definitely getting out just as fast as I got in. Not Ruby Wild, Sapphire Wild. It's kind of like the Coyotal theme. You can use the champion that flies because your opponent's flight, or you can pick the champion that puts cards back in your deck. We got kind of a prophecy theme. Honestly, I'm looking for an excuse to get in spiders, but the Zok Web Guard isn't quite there. It's a very powerful card. A 2/5 for flight is typically what I use it as. It sometimes the mill if I'm in spiders, but the major socketable ability. But King of Old Cloth is super strong. That amount of toughness on a flyer is pretty insane in this set. So pretty easy pick. About 40 drafts into set 3. I've been drafting quite a bit this month. Let's see. Again, no great follow-ups in Sapphire, but definitely doesn't look like Spiders is going to be open. Looks like Person to our right is either in that archetype or the few are down. It could be a bad print run too, but we see a lot of uncommons still in the pack, so people are picking up commons early. Best card in the pack, probably Rotting Knight. Arguable Twin Stern Oration. I like this guy's quite flexible. Can make him fly too. I'm not convinced that I'm in Wild yet. I don't have anything really pulling me in, so I'll just take the Rotting Knight. Be pretty happy. Okay, really good Spiders card. We could kind of like segue into Spiders, just good stuff, and then pick up some enablers as time goes on. Cripple's very good in Spiders. This guy's okay. That's good top end. I don't really like playing these high-end dudes without ramp already in my deck. Just because you don't want to load up on 6-drops normally, unless you have the ramp. But we are seeing some pretty decent signals that Wild's open. I'm still gonna wait. 2 orations. Maybe a little bit of my bias towards spiders, but I would like an excuse to be in spiders. And this card's just fine. It's a good follow up to our second pick, and Sapphire plays really well with spiders. So Yeah, it's just so hard to tell the first 5 picks what's open because I could have just last pack could have just had a lot of wild in it, you know. Whereas this is a very clear signal pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That Sapphire is at least open. What version of Sapphire is a little hard to tell. But I'd be happy picking up a Hatchery Brewguard and just saying like, cool, we're gearing up for the long game. We're gonna kind of do a Flyer Spider theme. We just need ways to interact with our opponent and not die early, and we're really strong late game. But Cycle and Shaman is great at that. It's a good body in and of itself, and then it can bring back your Vampire Kisses or bounce effects or whatever you got going on pretty reliably. Normally don't play this guy. But he kind of is a big body. If we do end up getting a few more flyers, just locking down the ground and winning in the air is a fine strategy, even if we're not in spiders. Nothing really. I mean, like a Phil Capes, an okay sideboard, pretty flexible. I'd rather not play him if I don't have to. We'll just pick something kind of on color. Second one of these, pretty telling. I'm gonna pick it up. One thing, there's nothing we'd really want to pick. Also, for the hate draft, and two, we may just end up not getting enough blood cards to get there, and falling back on wild with 2 predatory preys already in the deck. It's pretty strong. We'll go ahead and do that. Got the new microphone. I don't know if it sounds better or worse. We'll see. But my testing with it's been pretty good, so it's definitely an improvement for my headset. Okay, yeah, let's start hedging in wild. Sudden Awakening's meh. This card's meh. This card's pretty good. 3-drop if you're in an aggro strategy, especially if you're in a diamond, ruby, go wide, Pride Adamant deck. It's pretty good, but yeah, it's an okay 3-drop. Here I would like, well, okay, this is a natural 2-drop, whether in Coyotes. Well, if we're in Coyotes, which I'd rather not be. Really like Cripple. This card's growing on me a lot. If you're in like a controller shell where you need to get to the late game, you know you're gonna win the late game. You just need to not die early. It's pretty good against a lot of like out of control shift things that Wild tries to do. And if I knew I was in Sapphire Wild, I'd definitely pick the wild card. But yeah, card's kind of mad, but getting a card and with a 3/4 behind, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just it feels a little overpriced to me, a little underwhelming. I don't like being in Coyotes. This guy's pretty good in the Coyote strategy, especially if you have that dig card. Just getting that back helps you shuffle through your deck. I guess I'm gonna pick it up here. Probably not gonna play it. Alright, so we're building our wild base. So it looks like blood is pretty well cut, I'd say. We may not be able to live the spider dream at all. And that we see no enablers other than the 6-drops that tend to go pretty late anyway. So it might just be some kind of Coyote deck, which is fine. We didn't pass up too many things chasing our spider dream. That card's fine. We can also think shift a little bit. It's a little late to jump ship, but this card is quite powerful. There is shift in wild, in sapphire, so you can kind of get away with them. Is he good enough to splash? No. The version that gives everything a +1/+1 would be for sure. Even with a few shift, the effect is just so powerful. Dream Smoke's probably going to be the pick here. I think I have to abandon spiders at this point. Obviously, there's going to be good spiders in this pack because it was so heavily cut on the right. It may just pull me back in. This guy isn't splashable, but it's very good in a sack deck. Might be worth something, I don't think so. But I'll try to be a little disciplined here and just take a solid 3-drop. Yeah, this pack's bad. Um, Apocalypse of Azeroth. Now, it is expensive, but it just kind of sits there and blocks on the air. Oftentimes blocks on the ground, and is a great finisher in a kind of control-y type shell. How control-y we're going to be, I mean, I don't quite know where we're going to end up yet, but I know our curve's going to look pretty bad unless we're in Sapphire Wild. I also haven't seen a lot of the good just 3-drop flyers like the Brave and I guess it's the 4-drop flyer. But you know, the more inexpensive, efficient flyers. Picking this pick 2 is a little sad. Um, but I think we can build a flyers deck. Yeah, looks like we're kind of getting pushed into probably my least favorite archetype, but one that is decent um, if it's completely open, which would be Blood or Wild Sapphire. So Dreamsmoke Mystics is a thing. This card is quite good. It's also kind of a little bit of a counter to Spiders in the late game. We don't really necessarily have the resources to counter it early, but you know the Spider waves typically happen late. So Merry Minstrels don't really have any else. I'm not at the stage yet where I need to pick 2 frees for 3. So yeah, we'll happily take another Mystic. Alright, so I have some choices. I'm going to want these tricks at some point. It looks like they've been kind of pick 4 and 5 on both sides of the draft, so assuming that I can pick them up in pack 3 isn't, I don't think, is presumptuous. I wouldn't mind having cripples. Like I said, people don't pick them highly. It kind of does half of the job you need to do. The not die part, the threats, it's a pretty good part. Nobody really plays the revert champion all that often, so it doesn't get countered. It typically sticks. But we're a little saturated on 4s. This is tough. Now, if I had the beef already in my deck for Wild, I would pick the Windborn Disciple because of its flexibility. But this having the 3 power, I tend to like more of the baseline pick. So we're kind of getting fed some Spider stuff. It's still not crazy open. We're still not seeing the good enablers, the cheap enablers. So there's going to be a few Spider decks out there. But we'll just pick up a 2-drop. We need 2s. Probably need to do a little housekeeping, kind of figure out where we're at. Alright. Definitely not going to play you. You're maybe. I don't think we're in blood anymore. Wow, there's a good enabler. Alright, here's the cool part about being in Sapphire. I could pick a Rune Web and just kind of wait. Right? Just kind of wait, see what wheels, and end up in Spiders. What would be sacrificing would be a couple Gem Smokes. Now I have 2. 3 is better than 2. Gem Smoke is a good card. But my Wild isn't that great. And if I can get, I do have the removal, which is nice. But if I could get into Spiders somehow, I would like it. I would like it very much. And this isn't unplayable. This card is good, just in Sapphire. It's a little underwhelming, but it's still putting 2 Spiders a turn. And Spiders are good whether your deck is built around Spiders no matter what. It's a 1/1 unblockable. Now don't get me wrong, 3 Dream Smokes would be a little better than. Well, it's hard to tell. This is an evasive threat, and it is a 2-drop, and I needed 2 drops. Listen, I've drafted Spiders about 25 times. I've won with it plenty of times. I love Spiders. I think it's my favorite deck. It's right up there. You just got to build it to where it takes advantage of the RNG. That being said, if it's not really open, you can make a terrible deck. You can just feel horrible. There is some all-in variants where you can like just get all the instant quick action, put 3 in someone's deck and call it a day. Like you just spend a whole card to do it. But and then load up on lunacies and just hope for the best. That's like when you're forcing spiders and it's heavily cut. It obviously is not the most consistent deck. Essentially, with spiders, you want to lock down the board to where you have time for the RNG to work for you. But now, do I want to get enablers? Am I really thinking spiders at this point? I like the efficiency. Just glancing over though. I know Wild's a little more cut on the side, which is interesting. I guess I didn't really cut it that much. It's mainly cut Sapphire, pack 1. I'm not really convinced spiders is happening. And I don't want to pass up solid 2 drops. They're just so rare. With that being said, yeah, counter magic, control. It's a thing. It's a little expensive. But it's the only option we get in this set, so it's kind of a little better in long Coyote type strategies, but Coyote to be really stally needs to have Sapphire in it or Diamond, and Diamond's not really open right now. I could hate whatever that card is, a metal, but I'm not going to. Yeah, just in case. I mean, but here's the thing about the spiders is that none of the metal is open, none of the early game stall cards wheeled, so it's definitely not a thing. So you just basically sacrifice some Dream Smoke value to get a little bit of evasive spiders enablers that happens to be okay in Sapphire. I'm not going to go ahead and say that was bad, but it wasn't optimal. Here, just tape, whatever.
Oh, could I let her in?
No, I'm leaving her out for the recording. I'll be done in about 20 minutes. So here, well, we don't have any Sapphire options, so I guess we'd be pretty much picking to whatever we think might help our deck. It'd probably be Lip Lyricist if we were in Wild for sure, which I think we are at this point. That's not really a card that make me want to play Blood. That card's okay in a Stolly deck. Not gonna play you. Yeah, what's going on with some Blood? Nothing. I gotta give up on Blood. I just hate not playing spiders. I mean, these cards are great. I mean, Wild isn't that great, but yeah, we'll go Lyricist. 1 in Rome. So we want some more control-y type stuff. There would be our cheap spiders. That would lock down the ground. Still probably won't have enough enablers. And cards like this should probably wheel. Might pick another 2-drop here. I did pick up 1 ramp, so it's like reasonable. I think that maybe we get into that.
Oh, ouchies. Oh.
Okay.
Just hit on the same spot, just over and over and over again.
Okay, so what we got going on here? Kind of want another 2-drop. This removal is going to be a little underwhelming. Yeah, 3. We're going Coyote. Yeah, well, that would have been great. 2 Paraphages, probably enough to solidify me and spiders. Deck's a little more efficient now, though. Curve is a little more even. We do got some control elements already. We don't have like really any removal. It's a spot removal. But again, we're kind of building up, slightly building around Wakuna Crowfeather. with all the capitals. Okay. We did get our 2s. We got enough 2s, I think, to get by. Yeah, I don't quite have a reason to play you yet. Oh, a whole lot of... Wow. Bringing back cripples and just nerfing their board can be pretty good. Oh, looks like Spiders really opened up. Alright. Well, it's not too late to switch. If a miracle happens, I'll still play 2 of these. 2 rune webs, no problem. Okay, fair enough. Gives us something to do early and that pays off late when we get little unblockables and we're in kind of a stalled state. Interesting deck. 2 rune webs is kind of like the dream in a spider deck. And they're pretty good on their own. Alright, so we got at least one Stirring Narration. We're not going to be able to trigger its secondary clouds with 5-drops very easily. We only have one 5-drop that could be on board. You know, we need probably more than anything would be bounce cards, like throwbacks. This is looking more like a tempo kind of flyers deck. So anyway, tricks are fine. Tricks are fine. We're looking to kind of win in the air, slow down the ground. For that strategy with Diamond, with some of the big, dumb walls it has. But, 3 Paraphages, man. It's really hurting my soul. This card's good. It looks like blood just completely opened up. So, we get the Miracle Run of blood cards. We'll switch. Our wild is pretty unimpressive. In fact, let's just put this all on the sideboard and see what our deck looks like. Granted, we missed quite a few decent picks. Not quite knowing where we're at. It is unimpressive, but it is smooth. And at the end of the day, it's pretty important. So, yeah, throwback's good. Pretty much right on time. I don't think we're going to get enough blood. I just, hate driving a Paraphagy there isn't horrible. And we're still trying to the very last minute play Spiders. Find any excuse. I have 14 Sapphire cards. It's pretty good. They're all pretty high quality. I think I'm going to play one of these now. Kind of have enough actions. It's just gaining me a card, though. It's not really worth a card in and of itself. I guess it pays for itself, so you get a free 1/1, but Show me. Oh my god. Well, looks like the good Spider cards are a wheeling. Now, 4th Brave, pretty cool. 2nd Hatchery Brood card in an archetype we don't know we're even in. Pretty cool. Feeling pretty good on evasion. I just kind of want to not die. So, Mosaic Webguard does a pretty good job at that. And does tempo things. Now, are we really getting Spiders in our opponent's deck? Maybe. Maybe. It's just a fine card on its own. 1/4 for 2 is quite good. In any kind of deck that has evasion. Are we going to splash anything? Probably not. Will we want to hate anything? I mean, that would be an enabler, but we really don't want to get Spiders. Wait. No. This card we want. This is pretty good. So, essentially, you just want to win a race when you have a bunch of evasive things, and this will shut down your opponent's counterattack for 1 turn, allowing you to tip the favor, tip these scales in your favor. So entangling web's pretty good. I got confused with the other one. You want to play a third cripple, or do you still want to hold out for spiders? I think 3 cripples is a little bit overkill. This card's pretty good on its own too. It's probably better if we only have 2 enablers. I mean, we're not. I still want to go spiders. I'm so addicted to spiders, man. So as you can see, though, I mean, what's all developing was just how unopened Wild was. So that's kind of why I see some confusion on my part. Obviously, if earlier I'd cleared you, the better. But we do have stuff. The bring back from your graveyard, the turn of, it's pretty powerful when you get it to work. It just has a bit of a setup cost. And it could just be a dead card, so it's not the best. And just in case. Just in case. Also a good lock down the ground if you want to win with a bunch of flyers. So, there's some interesting picks here. I think what's going to happen, though, is I'm going to look at my final pick decision and just see what I just have a deeper pool in Wild, and they're all role players, and a little bit of removal. So, well, sounds like I'm going to play you. Okay, so let's get square on our. And probably should have picked the third grave. Like I said, I leaned a little bit towards. What did I pick instead of grave? That would have been pretty good. Grave is perfect. Okay, so let's see how flyer heavy we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that triggers, 5. Maybe like 0.75 because it may actually go on a flyer. 5, 6. Okay, 6 flyers. That's pretty good. Now in the not die, win and race kind of game, 2 throwbacks, 2 cripples are quite good. Having two drops and also allow me to kind of foresee how races are going to develop by being able to see my opponent's hand. It's quite good. Digging that, digging that. Let's look. Let's peep Wild. Awesome card. If you can play it in the first 2 to 3 turns. In this deck, first 2 turns, I'd say. Solid 2. Good trick. Meh. And awesome. And meh. Probably not going to play him because we're so saturated on 4s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 playables. And 1 predatory prey? The reason why it may be okay is I have a lot of things with 4 toughness. Mainly, it's not going to quite do the job against ramp top end stuff. Of course, in that same token, either is cripple. Turn a 6/6 into a 3/6. It's still, a threat. I think the question really comes down to how tempo orientated do I want to be. I have the tools to play a tempo deck. What champion supports a tempo deck? Ugh. Who knows, man? It's not really. Maybe the good flight. Probably the good flight guy. But what's the payoff? I mean, I didn't get the big green fatties that will just finish the game with flight. Just because, people are in ramp or whatever. I guess a Dreamstalk Mystic could do the job. We want to be winning about turn 6 or 7 with a deck like this. Anything else, we just kind of lose. The bigger stuff. Can't really stop a quick ramp deck very easily. This might be a thing. I'm not. I don't think this was like magical Christmas land type thinking because this card's great as a 2-drop, especially in like a flyers type deck because you want it to lock down the ground. This card is evasive. The 1/1 for 2 is fine. Normally I don't play those, but the fact that he puts little win cons in your opponent's deck, pretty powerful. I like my 2s. Yeah. So anyway, this deck's looking pretty efficient. So we put 2 Dream Smokes in, another two more 2s and a 3. Let's see what that looks like. Yep, we got plenty to do. This guy's kind of a lone wolf, but he's lone 6-drop. But we got a little bit of ramp, and he's fine. He's just fine. Didn't really. Took me about maybe a bunch of games just to realize the power of a 4/4 flyer. I mean, even if it costs 7, I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. But there are plenty of games where your opponent just can't do anything about it. And mainly because all the removal is kind of focused on the early game battles, where if you can get to the late game, he's a fine finisher. Alright, blood. Bloody, bloody, blood. Really underwhelming. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go too deep on the blood. Well, I got paid off with 3 paraphages, which is fine. It was obviously pretty good. But it made a lot of my other tempo type cards a little awkward. I mean, these are all kind of control-ish type cards, and only one of them was Pro Spider, I guess 2. We're not Spider. Alright, I think I did an okay job. I did an okay job. I just didn't get the deck that I wanted. It doesn't mean that the deck that I got can't win. Alright, 21 cards, 2 inclusions. Lots of ways of interacting with my opponent. I like that. And then Wakuna is going to have some targets, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 live Coyotes. If I get Wakuna out, he can make another Wakuna effect. It's pretty powerful. That being said, maybe we want another one. And I think we're going to play 1 Predatory. Not optimum in this deck, but removal's removal. What's our champion? You're out. Honestly, oh, not that guy. Probably Sagebrush. It's kind of the. Here's my issue. Okay, so my first thought is that, well, Winter Moon's fine and more of a control-y type deck. The problem I have with this champion is that you don't get to really see the benefits of cycling the cards back into your deck in quicker games. And I'm definitely playing a quicker game type deck. So if I do put 2 target cards in my graveyard into my deck, who knows if I ever see those again. And if that's all my champion is doing, it could be a dead champion in a lot of games. Also, the draw one can really punish you against spiders. And there's at least 1 spider drafter. I think people will go in the spiders and there's a little bit of battle over it. And this is a competitive draft, so people are a little more conscious of signals. I think some people wanted to be spiders and got pushed out, kind of like me. Okay. The thing I like about Sagebrush is that his champion ability is cheap and kind of underwhelming, but hey man, I'm doing the evasive thing. A 3/3 flyer all of a sudden becomes a 4/4 flyer. It's pretty nuts. I mean, that's definitely accelerates the clock. I don't feel like I did nothing when I trigger his ability. Yeah, it doesn't affect the board that turn, a little underwhelming, but I mean, what are our options? Boris. Let's just look at Boris for a second. What is Boris? What is? How are we breaking Boris? Making this fly 2/4. Making that fly 3/3. Sure, that's fine, but is it really worth whole champion power? And it's only one turn. I think we're gonna win with our flyers as is. The reason why I'm not playing Boris is just simply because we have enough flyers already. Now in your mono wild or wild sapphire, we have more ground beef, big things on the ground. Yeah, Boris is fine. Then you have a game plan. You want to swing it through 6/6 in the air and turn 7 and win the game, right? But no, we're not going to do Boris. We just want the little slow grind value of Sagebrush. A little extra value. No big deal, but not underwhelming. Just right. Okay, that's that. It's our 23. Let's not forget the socket. You're definitely flying. I don't even want to go into anything, entertaining anything else. Do we have any more? Really heavy on the tempo. I think that's going to pay off. I do not like double wild card threshold. This guy's kind of, I would like to improve. But the fact that he's a coyote and we have a concentration of 3 drops, it's going to make sure that we have plenty of things to do as the game goes on. That's going to help us in our matchups against basically the meta. Against aggro, against ramp. Can't really do anything about spiders, right? There's not really an answer to spiders in this color combo that I can think of at the moment. Looking pretty sapphire dependent. Can I just replace you? I really don't want. I don't want to play 9 wild. And this guy kind of makes you want to do that. I don't really want to play 2 of these just because I'm. Well, maybe I should just play 2 of those. Let's see what my troop count is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, troop count's fine. Well, in Hex versus maybe Magic the Gathering, I feel like you want to play more like 15 to 16 troops just because you have a champion and normally cares about troops. It's kind of like gaining free spells in your deck, so you can get away with playing more creatures. I don't know. Just a thought. I guess maybe we just have a little bit of a lone wolf, pardon the coyote pun, but really don't want to play 2 of these. I want my deck to be as efficient as possible and situation dependentless as possible. I just want flexible ways to interact with my opponent and attack for damage. So yeah, it's all a very long way of saying I'm not going to change anything and I'm going to accept a little bit of the resource hit and wild. I also have ramp, but that doesn't change our threshold. So yeah, we're going to go 9. I'm going to do this a long way. 9, 8. 8 is fine to support a champion, in my experience. And we're gonna say go. All right, thank you so much for watching. I may not do the whole draft, mainly because it's a lot of work, and people seem to just mainly watch the draft and not really the games. I could be wrong on that. Please supply some feedback if you'd like to see the rounds. I think I want to record them. You know, if I scrub out round 1, maybe not. And normally, if I'm going to do a series, I do Swiss, just so that there's 3 videos worth of value, no matter what. So yeah, I'm not sure yet. This is a live commentary, so I'm just kind of processing with you guys. So if you don't see around 1 video, probably means I either lost or just decided to keep this series um, pick by picks, pick order videos. Going over the draft itself, how to draft. We'll see. Anyway, in any case, thanks so much for watching, and thanks for checking out Shards and Words.